Hi everyone, I hope everybody's having an enjoyable weekend and that you did at least one thing for yourself, because that seems to be something that we always forget. We get wound up in doing for everybody else and we kind of get put on the back burner. Guilty as charged. Matter of fact, I'm going into work tomorrow half an hour early because they asked me to. I'm always doing something there, which is fine with me. It doesn't bother me because I love what I do. Um, Anyway, yesterday I said I wasn't sure what that video was going to be about, and I had three things to choose from. I make a list as things start coming, to my head. I'm like, shit, I want to make a list because there's so much, so much. I'm telling you, when I say I did not come for rainbows and lollipops, believe it. But so much happened, and I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse, but I have had the ability to just completely block everything. So I don't really think about it, and I thought I wasn't allowing it to affect me. I thought. However, I knew something was not right when I was 9 years old. I couldn't sleep. I always thought I was going to die. It was horrible. I can't even explain all of it. And then when I was 17 and I had just had my son, things were just wacky as hell. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. I wasn't wanting to leave my house. I didn't eat. I weighed 120 pounds, I think it was. I'm 5'7", people. 120 pounds does not look well on me. And so anyway, about 6 years after that, we moved. And by now, I have all three of my biological kids. Actually, I had them all when I was 21, by the time I was 21. And we moved to Colorado. We got to Colorado, everything was honky-dory. And then, all of a sudden, I couldn't leave my house. For 2 years, I was in my house. Every time I would go to the front door, I couldn't breathe. It was horrid. And I was constantly thinking I was dying all the time, right? And I talked to my neighbor, thank God, Virginia Gagliano. I'll never forget her. I told her what was happening, and she's like, oh, honey. She said, do you ever see the ambulance that comes for me? I said, yeah, I see it all the time. She goes, well, that's why they're here. She said, I have horrible depression and anxiety. And she said, but I screw it up myself because I'm also an alcoholic. And so it kind of defeats the purpose to be working on fixing myself while I'm burying myself in it. Because as we know, as I know now, alcohol is a huge depressant. Huge. If you want to be depressed, you just keep on drinking. Don't wonder why you're still sitting there, because that's why. Anyway, so one of the subjects I said was pertaining to my mom in a letter I wrote her. So the letter I wrote her, because of everything that had happened. Growing up in a bar, my mom was a barmaid. She would bring different men home constantly. Uncle this one, uncle that one. And sometimes Uncle whoever decided he had the right to do whatever he wanted to a child. So things just went on. When I was 14, she sent me away with a 27-year-old man, Tony White, to go to Alabama with him to marry him. I went to foster care. And I told my foster mom, and she said, well, Kim Marie, I thought you wanted to go. And I'm like, did you just really freaking say that to me? A grown-ass woman, now in her 70s, saying that a 14-year-old wanted to go with a grown-ass man from San Diego to Alabama to marry him. Anyway, I'm not going back there. So, my dad dies in 2005. I believe I touched on the fact that my brother was an ass and things happened while they were here and blah, 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 blah. Well, my mom called me and started calling me a murderous bitch telling me my dad was rolling in his grave. She knew I had outed him, and on and on and on. I mean, she was just horrible. Again, it didn't really bother me because I know who she is and I know what I grew up with. And I know she's an alcoholic, are you sober or not. Sad thing is, though, if she were drunk, you know, some people could like kind of excuse that away. But if she were drunk, drunks don't lie. Believe that. They will tell you the exact truth. They do not lie. And so anyway, I sat down and I wrote her a letter and I said, you know what? I said, I can't do this with you anymore. I just can't. For whatever reason, you allowed things to happen to me. And I went through things at your hands. I have to believe in myself that you knew not what you did. And that you didn't know any better. Because if I didn't believe that, I would lose my freaking mind. You know? I said, I love you, you're my mother, but I cannot play these games with you anymore. I can't allow you to keep causing harm to me. And, you know, when we were growing up, we always had food, we always had clothes. My mom made us our clothes. We always had a roof, and I thanked her for all of that. But now I got to let this go. And I, you know, basically said, I will not be dealing with you again. I wish you nothing but love and happiness. And I signed it, I love you, Kim. That's it. That was part of my forgiving. The next video, I do believe, is going to be about forgiving. Okay. Much love to everybody. See you next time.